animals in 16-degree weather in the morning. We had snow last night, sleet, and South Central Texas, we don't get snow. The last snow we had was, I want to say February 2021, but animals have to be fed. Hi everyone, welcome back. As I promised, my last video I said I needed to make sausage, and I got up early today, 7:30. I went ahead and fed the animals. We got the cold front in. We're going to go down into the teens, maybe single digits for the next 3 days. So perfect time to restock my freezer and my pantry. So this morning I got up and I ground up all the meat and I did all the seasonings in them. Right now they're sitting in my fridge and I'm just letting it marry, the ingredients marry together, and then I'm going to put them in casings here in a little bit. It seems to be like a half a day process because you have to grind it and then you have to mix it and then you have to let it sit in the fridge, and then even after you grind it you have to let it sit in the fridge for a little bit, and during the grinding process you have to put it in the fridge for a little bit because it will gum up your machine if you just let it at room temperature. So you always have to keep your meat cold while you're doing that. So I got that done, and that, just grinding the meat alone, took me about an hour and a half doing pork and beef because I had to keep popping it in the fridge because it kept gumming up my machine. So I went ahead and got that taken care of. So now it's sitting there, and I am now waiting for my pork hog casings to sit in the water and get nice and flexible so I can start putting my sausages together. But yes, I did sausage. I got my sausage being done today. So I started off the morning with a 5-pound beef brisket. It does have fat to it, but in the lower right corner you can see that I'm going to add some more pork fat to it. So my meat is going to be about 80 to 20, so 20% fat. Some people like it 70-30, we like it 80 to 20. And then I went ahead and cut up a pork roast, and then the same thing, I'm going to add a bunch of bacon fat scraps to it. So I started loading up my grinder, and I realized that I had missed a step of putting the beef chunks back in the fridge to get cold again, because once I started feeding the meat through the processor, it started gumming up, and I had 2 incidences where I had to take everything apart and clean it up. But I had thought I didn't use a lot of time on the counter when I was cutting the meat, but apparently I did because I had to keep cleaning my machine. So I had to put the meat back in the fridge again. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting my seasonings out. I'm going to do a beef sausage first. So I'm going to need some onion powder, some garlic powder, some paprika, some black pepper, some mustard seed, but I don't have mustard seed, so I'm going to use mustard powder, some cayenne pepper, some kosher salt, and then you're going to need some powdered milk. And then I got this recipe from Smokey Joe on his site a couple years back, and it seems to be a really good recipe that we like. We tweak it a little bit each time that we use this, but he seems to be the one that had the best recipe so far. So I've let my sausage meat stay in the fridge for a couple hours just to firm it up a little bit. And then 1/2 of the beef sausage I'm going to do a jalapeno and cheese mix in there. So I'm just going to dice up some cheese real quick and some jalapeno so I can stick it in the meat before I put it through my casing. So let me go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll go ahead and get started on stuffing my sausage casings. And then I'm just going to cut out 1/2 of a jalapeno. I don't want it too spicy. So we're going to put just little tiny pieces in there. Like that tiny. You don't want big pieces. Now that we got that cut up, we're going to go ahead and get it mixed into the meat. So I'm going to go ahead and take half of this out. This is 80% beef and 20% pork. So it's going to go there. And then all of this is going to go into here. And we're just going to blend that in. Okay, so I let my casings soak for 10 minutes. I'm going to rinse it off because they pack it in a salt. And I think I might have taken out too much casings, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. I'm going to rinse that off. And we're going to start. Before we start, I'm just going to put a little pan on here. What that's going to do is going to help the casing slide down the nozzle. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to find the opening, and I found it. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it on here. And then we're just going to move it down. Okay, I got my casing all the way up. So I'm just going to tie a knot on the end. Then we're going to start filling it. Okay, it's time to make the links. So on my cutting board, I have markings on there that's for 6 inches. So I just measure it and then I twist it at the 6-inch mark to make my individual sausage links. So I got my sausage links done. So I got 29 in total. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back in the fridge. I'm going to cover them up, and then my husband's going to cold smoke them probably tomorrow. I think tomorrow, if it's not too bad. So now I got to make the sausage patties for breakfast. Okay, this is it for the day. Breakfast sausage patties. Pork. I'm going to go ahead and make little tiny circles, little patties, and then I'm going to put them in the freezer because I want to vacuum seal them, but you can't vacuum seal them when they're room temp or even fridge cold. They have to be frozen or they'll just smash when the vacuum sealer gets to the last of the air and it just like flatten them like you won't believe. So I got this left to do today, and thank gosh, it's been a long day making sausages. I didn't realize it was going to take that long today. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ice cream scoop today so I can get the patties the right size. So I'm just going to spray that with Pam real quick. And once I get those all on this wax paper, I'm going to come back with another piece of wax paper over it, and I'm going to smash them flat. Now that I scooped them out, I'm going to half the scoops and make smaller patties. Now that I got all this done, I'm just going to come back and I'm going to smash it. With one of my canning jars. Go ahead and cut these up into squares. Make it easier to store. And that way they won't stick together in the freezer. Wax paper got wet. I'm just going to cut them into squares. I'm going to put them on a pan and stick them in the freezer. Okay, it's been 2 hours since I put my breakfast patties in the freezer. So they got pretty good form to them now. So that way when I put them in the vacuum sealer, it's not going to get smashed and deformed in there. So I'm going to put 4 in each package so that it's not wasted. If you have like 8 or 10 in a package and there's only just 2 of you, chances are you're not going to get to all of them by the time that they start to go bad. So I'm just going to put 4 in each one of ours, so that gives us 6 bags, but it gives us 12 breakfasts because it made 24 and my husband and I are the only ones here, so that's 2. So we're going to go ahead and vacuum seal them, and then they go back out into the freezer in the garage. But I am so happy to have the sausage making process done. It took me all day today, but it's 21 degrees right now outside, and it's very drizzly, and it's a wet cold outside too. So what better thing to do inside than make stuff for your freezer? right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.